Okay, I'll go ahead and start. Hopefully we'll be ready. So there's a part one and a part two. The part one of this meeting is I'm going to talk about ASHA and ASHA Seattle specifically. I'm going to talk a little bit about Team ASHA program and what we're doing here, the fundraising through climbing, and then a timeline and mechanics. How are we going to go about this? I'll go through, the fundraising profile page and how we look at donation and matching donations from employers and submitting evidence. So that's all kind of like overview of the program and some mechanics. And then the part two is a little bit more qualitative. It's about how do we approach fundraising? What are the strategies? What is the effort that you're making? Some tips, how to use social media, and like the whole point. Again, back to why we're doing this. Okay, so what is ASHA? We're a 501(c)(3), that's a designated, by regulatory authority, non-profit, and that's a US organization. And the goal is to catalyze socioeconomic change by educating children who don't have privileges otherwise, or certainly don't have the exposure or ability to do it themselves. So in 2024, the 2025 numbers are not yet released. ASHA was around, raised around $4 million, a little over $4 million. And we do have a disbursement ratio. We do like to hold some in the bank for, floods, cyclones, things that are difficult for our project partners. But we dispersed a little over 3 million, 3.25 million, so across projects across India. So there's 148 projects right now are active projects, but there have been many more over time all across India. And right now we have about 216,000 children that have been served across these projects. There are 46 active ASHA chapters, 1,500 or more ASHA volunteers, um, 50,000 or more volunteer hours. And people don't always record even how many hours they're volunteering. Um, and we've got at least 10 chapters that have these what we call Team ASHA, which is what we're part of. So the objective, Asha, we educate kids in India, but not just education, but sometimes things preclude education, right? If somebody doesn't have enough food to eat, they're not going to be thinking about their children's education, or they can't feed their kids. So these are things that we want to address, right? Before kids can get educated, sometimes there are some prerequisites. If mom is getting beaten at home and dad doesn't have salary, then the education is a faraway thing. So we do some empowerment, we do livelihood stuff, we do, maybe food related issues. So it's more than just education, but the focus is education. And how do we do it? We review grassroots projects in India. So the goal is ASHA for Education is a US-based organization. There are chapters in India, and I can talk a little bit more about how ASHA India works. It's slightly different, similar, but slightly different because it's on the ground. Here, we look at projects and we identify people working on the ground. And we have sort of, I would say, like a consultant intermediary. So we look at these projects, we vet them, we see what they're doing, and then we raise funds, typically in dollars here, and then send the money to India. And then we have cycles of review where we don't go more than 18 months without going and visiting the project. So an ASHA volunteer will visit a project every 18 months. And we also network projects with other projects across India. So that's all part of what ASHA does. Um, ASHA especially, I have been volunteering for ASHA for a long time, since 99 actually. And I've kind of also left ASHA to see other organizations and how they work. And I've come back to ASHA because I think it's super effective. It's 100% volunteer. There's no paid staff. There's no CEO. There's no director. I mean, there's some roles we have to do because most people don't work this way. So the American 501(c)(3) system forces us to have some roles. But really, it's also not only is it 100% volunteer, it's also kind of flat. There's no hierarchy. Even though there are kind of roles assigned, everybody has an equal say. So if you come to volunteer at a chapter meeting, you'll see that whether you're a new volunteer or an old one, you have an equal say. Obviously, if you've got a lot of experience, it will carry more weight. But we don't do it by title or role, or we avoid the politics of that. We have about 30 plus out of our 40 something chapters, 46 chapters. 30 of them are in the 28 in the US, 3 in Europe, 3 in India. Actually, there are some more chapters if you're counting. As of 2024, we've lost some. And then near zero overheads, right? We don't market. We do programs like this where we are helping people climb, and every one of our leads are volunteers. But we don't market. We don't, pay for MailChimp. We don't pay for stuff. Our overheads are very, very minimal. I will pay for a couple of Zoom accounts, and even that, I think somebody like, for this meeting, somebody, one of the volunteers is picking up that cost. We have credit card fees. We can't escape credit card fees, just like death and taxes. So other than that, there are really no overheads. Um, I talked about the flat structure. We started in Berkeley, 37 years it's been as a student organization, and the organization has grown and matured along with the volunteers. Very transparent, all the funds, all the information about projects, everything is online. The organization started in the internet era, and we've used it really to, make decisions online, so the platform becomes flattening. There's not doesn't need to be the hierarchy. Um, and we want to empower local organizations to do it. So it's not like we are coming in there and saying, hey, we all have all these management principles from America. We're come, we know. It's not like that. We let the people figure out at the grassroots level what they need, and we empower them. And of course, we discuss, we challenge them, we hold them accountable and so on. So that's all of the things that I think makes Asha special. Um, some other things from an outside perspective, right? There's an organization called Charity Navigator, and they're a third party entity that rates charities. So if you're ever donating in the US, you should know about this, because whatever, if you're donating to Red Cross or your neighborhood fund or whatever, Charity Navigator may have a rating. Now, Asha has received a 4-on-4 star rating every year. And we receive not just 4-on-4 stars, 100 score. So they look at things like impact and measurement, accountability and finance, culture and community. Are you guys able to see my mouse moving, by the way?
Yes, and we can
Okay.
see.
So yeah, so they're reviewing like impact, accountability, culture, and community of the organization, leadership. 10 on 10, 10 on 10, 20 on 20. So it's not like a 9 on 10 we did very well. We are doing pretty perfectly. We can't get a higher score than this in terms of all of our metrics. And then there's another organization called Candid. Candid has also given us a Gold Transparency Award for 2024. I think the 2025 award is still pending. American Airlines magazines once wrote about us as a slam dunk charity, and why we got an article in American because one of our volunteers worked for American Airlines in the marketing department, and they put an article about Asha. But they reviewed it, they did their due diligence, and they found us to be, as the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce says, the best NGO in the US. So there are others. There's aid, and there's the others that serve India, but I think Asha has been consistently super highly rated, transparent, effective, all of that. And a little about Asha Seattle itself. We raise over $800,000 a year here, which you could imagine may not even seem like that much, considering we have Google and Microsoft and Boeing and big organizations here, and you would think maybe even look small. But it is one of Asha's largest chapters. Silicon Valley is, I think, the only one that's kind of larger than this. We support 25 plus projects across India. If any of you have met Sridhar, has any one of you hiked with Sridhar?
Yes,
Okay. So
Dr. Sridhar.
yes, Dr. Sridhar. So Sridhar's wife, Geeta, she's the project coordinator for Asha Seattle. Okay, so they've visited a lot of projects, Sridhar and Geeta. Geeta is like a dragon lady, man. She's amazing. She will keep all these projects in line. I've watched her meeting after meeting, and the project stewards who represent the project, she'll ask them tough questions. Um, anyway, so Asha Seattle raises money through, Microsoft has a giving campaign, a gift program. Our team Asha programs, I'll talk a little bit about what the other ones are. We have, more typical events, what you would expect from a fundraiser, dance party, those kinds of things. And then, organizations, employers will match hours for volunteers in terms of money. So, the volunteer spends 20 hours leading in the climate program. They can say, hey, Microsoft, can you please give me 20 hours worth of money to Asha because I spent hours volunteering. So we get donations through all of this work. So if you want to join Asha, anyone can. You just have to come to the chapter meeting. And we usually, because it's a big chapter, we do a little bit of an orientation for people, so you kind of know what you're getting into. And then you come to a chapter meeting. You can get involved with projects. You can become a steward of a project. You can take up a project and start communicating with the project in India. I think we are currently looking for some stewards for a project in Maharashtra right now. So if you're from there, then that's something we're looking for at the moment. You can join, of course, like you have already joined the climbing program. And if you have kids, there's a junior Asha program as well, where a lot of kids are doing amazing things. This what they do here, among other things, is they write thank you notes to the donors. So kids handwriting saying thank you, it's such a lovely thing to receive. Um, so anyway, this is the split of our projects. I won't go through that in detail, but we do have, like I said, not just education, but alternate education, non-formal education, community awareness, homes for destitute children or children without parents, all kinds of different splits of projects. And this is just for our Seattle, Seattle chapter. Okay, so Team Asha is one of the initiatives. There are other typical fundraisers, right? Nazarana, we have a cultural evening. There's a band that comes and plays. There's another band called Urja, and they kind of donate all their proceeds to Asha. We have a 5K, 10K running event in June, and that's a run, not a training program, but a running event. So that's coming up next. Then we'll do candle making, gift making, those are kind of like typical fundraisers, right? But the big one for us is this Team Asha. Team Asha is an initiative where people can run or cycle or climb mountains to raise funds for Asha, which is what you guys are doing. So there's a run with Asha. It so happens that I also coordinate the running program. I'm just a volunteer with the climbing program, but I kind of, the running program is very small. We're still kind of restarting it. Biking program is huge. A lot of people train, just like with climbing, to cycle from Seattle to Portland every year. So that's a really fun one, and it's run very well. Heard lots of great things, and I'm eager to try it myself. So these are the three Team Asha programs, and the concept is that each athlete raises funds through their networks by doing these amazing things. So you tell your network, hey, I'm running, I'm cycling to Portland, I'm climbing Mount Baker, and then you tell your network, I'm doing this because I want to raise funds for children in India, and you bring your network in. It's a pyramid scheme. Now, as Asha volunteers keep on asking, we can only ask our friends, our family every year. But now I get in 40 new climbers. Each climber will ask their network. And each athlete becomes the credible voice of Asha. That's the way the program works. So part of this credibility is I want to convince you guys, right? What is Asha? That's what I've been wanting to do with this. And I want you to find out more on your own, right? You go to Charity Navigator or go come to our project meetings or go look at our project website, look at our project site and see how much information there's. There's pictures, there's site visit details, funding details, down to the names of the toilet cleaner in each uh, school. It's available publicly transparent, right? We don't release the names of the kids, there's privacy, but usually teachers, every staff member that whose salary we pay, we usually get to know them. An Asha volunteer who's visited the site will know the janitor who's cleaning the classroom in the school that they are the stewards for. That's the level of accountability and detail we know. We usually also talk to them and find out if they're liking their job, how they're doing, all of that. So that's the purpose of this, is that we want to create every year a group of 40 climbers who can be a voice of Asha, and who can talk about Asha and who know about Asha and can feel good about the credibility that they can bring and represent Asha with. Any questions so far? Okay, so now, fundraising through climbing, right? All of the volunteers, all of our leads, the people who are organizing, there are people that you see on the mountain, there are people you won't see on the mountain. I've only come for 2 climbs, and there's others who will come for even fewer or none at all. But there's lots and lots of volunteers who do this. And the whole point, they help train you, they organize the training hikes, they take charge of safety, they're answering the questions, and helping you buying your gear. They're usually doing side phone calls with you to check in with you. They're sharing their knowledge. They're making trip plans for you. Sometimes they even send you like discount coupons or codes, sharing gear. All of this we do because we believe in Asha and we want uh, for people to feel good about Asha and raise money for Asha. So that's the goal. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people just donate this amount by themselves. You can do that. But that's not what the program is really meant for. It's meant for you to be the mouthpiece of Asha, for you to tell your network. And the way that we, create that mechanism is because you're doing something amazing. You're going to climb a mountain. So when you climb a mountain and you tell your friends, hey, I'm climbing a mountain, and they say, why the heck are you climbing a mountain? I'm climbing to raise funds for this amazing organization that I've learned about, that is credible, that has received this, 4-on-4 rating from an organ, and they're making amazing impact. That's what we really want. Yeah, go ahead. I mean, not everyone has time. Sometimes you just pay it yourself, and that's fine. But we want you to raise the funds by telling your network. Ideally, we want you to get more people in. This is why we don't have marketing costs. We want to use our people who want to know about Asha to do it. So you all know what you signed up for. So you know what your fundraising commitment is and your obligation is. And I will make a page for you based on your photo or whatever you send me that shows that amount as well. Okay, so how and when in terms of your fundraising timeline, you talk to your friends and family about what you're doing. Um, and we're not saying that this is a suggestion. This is necessary. If you want to raise funds, you've got to talk to people about what you're doing, which why wouldn't you? Why don't be shy about the fact that you're planning a mountain. And of course, you'll have personal reasons. I want to lose weight. I've had people who have come for running who are like, I've got PCOS and I need to lose weight to have a baby. And my father passed away and he was a runner, so I'm going to run in your case, whatever it might be, right? And that's fine. You'll have personal reasons. Please find out about Asha as well. Learn more about our project. We'd like you to get started and raise 50% of the amount by the end of next month, which is why we're doing this presentation now. Some people have maybe already started. And the climb, your big mountain that you climb, should be the culmination of the event. That's where you are like, saying, hey, I'm climbing Mount Rainier this weekend or Mount Baker this weekend. I would really like it if you could contribute to my cause, give me a pat on the back. And you see people get excited about your climb, and that's when they give you the money. And there's some ways we finished most of our plans by June, July, but we say, hey, there's another opportunity, 15th of August, Indian Independence Day, maybe another way to message your network, friends and family. And I'll talk about like how to go about it and how to even think about it. So we do think of these as like minimums, right? So these amounts are, come on, we're climbing mountains. We often spend twice as much on this on gear. And most of the people in our network are capable of giving some portion of this, obviously not this much, but no one thinks so generously because they're always worried, like, is the cause worth it? Is it going to make an impact? But we can raise more. And so don't think of these as like limits. Just think of them as like, that's kind of the minimum obligation. Okay, and how and where? So this is where I'll talk about some of the mechanics. There is an Asha fundraising profile page. I'll show you an example and then I'll build yours for you. Not on this call, obviously, but afterwards. That's the preferred mechanism. So somewhere people have to click a link, put in their credit card information and give money, right? So that place, we have a place on Asha for it where there's no fees. There's no credit card fee. I mean, you still have to pay credit card fee, but there's no platform fee. You can do it other places. You can do it on GoFundMe. You can do a Facebook fundraiser. So if you're super active on social media or you've got a fantastic Facebook following, then do it on Facebook, right? It'll be worth the 2% fee that we have to pay. Because if that's where people are looking at it, it'll be fine. But if you do it in other places, just know that there's a little bit of a fee and there's a little bit of an extra administration overhead in terms of not by money, but in terms of volunteer time. Usually for me, there's a guy called Pankaj, you may have met him in group one, Anila, you may have met him. So he kind of reconciles that. So ideally, just do it on the fundraising profile page. So I'll show you this is what that looks like. So this is if you've met Dimple already, this Dimple's page. She wanted me to set it up early for her, and she wanted me to set up her target a little high. So I set that up. So this is on the seattle.ashanet.org page, and it's under her donation profile. So every climber will get their own donation profile. For this, obviously, I need a picture. 640 by 400 is enough. That's all it's going to be. And then you can say whatever you want over here. I have some template text. You can change it or whatnot. So this is called your Asha fundraising profile page, your FPP. So if somebody clicks that button, donate now, then it takes them to a portal, a payment portal, where they can put in their financial information and they pay. And then the sticker goes up, the amount of dollars raised and whoever supported you. So this is the ideal way. This is the source of truth. This is the anchor info about your fundraising obligation. So you can do it other places, but we will try to update this page even if you're getting funds from somewhere other than this donate now button, because this donate now button is linked to you specifically. So it will show up as, Dimple's contributor for Dimple. So that's easily attributable to you. You can customize it. I'll create a bunch of generic pages for everybody. I will customize it with a photo. Of course, you have to send me the photo. And I have a form set up here, which I'll send out after this presentation. For you to send me your photo, if you haven't already. Some people have. And then send me if you want any changes to the template text, or if you just want your own text, completely different text, that's fine. So the form is pretty simple. It's just those three fields, what text you want, using notes, and send, upload the photo. That's it. And you can add your own personal message. Why am I doing this? So you can see, Dimple, it's for a great cause. I've joined Team Asha, and I'll show you my page as well from last year. So one thing to note here is that, there you go, the next one. So this is the FPP, the fundraising profile page, right? You'll have it. So this is an example of my fundraising profile page. So you can see here, my target was $1,700. I happened to raise 4,350 with 10 supporters. Actually, I had more, but when other people donate outside of this page, you don't see the number of supporters because they have not come through this page. So you only see the supporters on this page. And my profile, I've written something a little bit different. I've climbed Mount Baker. It's not about sending money. It's to ensure that grassroots change happens for communities. Now, there is a donate link on the Asha page that's not this donate now to your fundraising profile. So this donate to Asha, it's a generic, like just donate to Asha, the organization. So it's not associated with your name specifically. So when you do that, it's considered a donation that comes outside of the fundraising profile page, the FTP. So if someone uses that accidentally, that's okay. I really don't, because then we have to do some extra work to count it under your fundraiser. So for anything that's a non-FTP transaction or donation, it needs to be accounted for. So for example, you can see one of our climbers last year, 1,700 was her target. This is actually Madhuri's page, Mandaria wife. And she had raised 1,800 bucks, which is amazing. And it shows 0 supporters. That's because they came from some other source, right? She had done it somewhere else. And it could be an employer match. It could be like a donation to your company, whatever it is. And you'll have to account for it. And you require some evidence, a screenshot. And if you have a match, that requires a screenshot. And you evidence that in a Google form. There's another Google form that says, hey, what's your donation amount? Where do you donate? Is there a match? So on and so forth. And then one of the Asha volunteers, usually me or Pankaj, reviews it. We have to manually review it. And then we can update the page to show that you have raised some money. And we call it an offline donation. If you do a GoFundMe or a Facebook or anything like that, you can document it as a single transaction at the end instead of doing like one Google form for every donation that you get. Okay, so GoFundMe looks like this. Is anyone here interested in doing the GoFundMe or the Facebook? If there isn't, then I'll just skip this. Okay. I guess I can go through it just for the recording. But you have to choose the organization in GoFundMe. And there are some mechanics. I won't go through the mechanics. If someone wants to know, then I can go through it with them specifically. But that's what a GoFundMe page looks like. As I said, they charge some fees, 2.9%. Facebook has a fundraiser. Again, they have Asha in the roster of charities that you can choose. So you have to choose that charity, put in your amount and so on. And they charge a little bit less, 2%, but that's what your Facebook will look like. And then there's employer matching. So whoever donates, whether you are donating to yourself or whether someone else donates on your page, if they have an employer that matches funds, then we definitely want to try to apply for that match, because then it doubles the money, right? So if someone gives you $100 and it's from Microsoft, they work with Microsoft, Microsoft matches their amount up to, I think there's some limit, like maybe $3,000 a year for every employee. They will match up to $3,000 that the employee donates every year. So lots of companies have it. Even if you don't know that they have it, they often do. You can ask your HR people, or whoever's donating to you, your uncle, your cousin, cousin brothers, first fiance, whatever. Ask them where they work and if their employer has a matching program, if they've donated to you. And so when you receive a donation, obviously acknowledge, thank them first for donating, but then inquire if the employer has a match. And sometimes it helps to have template text ready so that, it's good, you can send it to them, which can include things like, hey, I can help walk you through a screenshot, getting a screenshot for your employer manager, whatever. So when somebody's company matches the funds, there's no way for them to match on your fundraising profile page. Or there's no way, if they're giving through the Microsoft Give program, even if they're donation, not even a matching, if they're donating through the Microsoft portal, there isn't a way that Asha will know that it's matched, that needs to be matched to you specifically. We might get the donation, but I won't know that it's for Devi or for Anila or for Jutsi or for Mandar, right? So you need to tell us by filling out the form. Hey, I received this on such and such a date. Here's my screenshot, and we've applied for a match. And we don't wait for the company to send us the money. We just need the screenshot saying that somebody has asked for it. That's it. So there are different ways in which that this can happen for the most part. So this is a donation that can happen as a payroll deduction. From many companies offer a payroll deduction because Seattle, they know about Asha and so on. Asha for Education Seattle is on here. And then not only do you have a payroll deduction, they'll automatically match also 100%. So sometimes it's like that. You can do a payroll deduction or somebody else, your donor can do a payroll deduction. They can do a one-time or direct donation again within the company portal. And here you can notice here it says request a match. Okay, this is donated to the cause. Did you donate other than here on this page? If so, you can request a match, submitting your evidence from wherever you donated. So he's donated through his company portal, but you can also ask for it. So there's one-time direct donation. And then the company match where they've donated elsewhere, all they're doing is your a match request. Your match request has been sent successfully. That's all we need. We only need this kind of screenshot as an evidence, fill it in the Google form and upload the evidence, and that's all we do. We don't need to wait for the company. Okay, so that was part one, guys. I'll just stop here for a break and just see if there's questions. If you can unmute and say anything.
I do have a, if is it okay to ask another question?
Yeah, please.
So I noticed that Dimple, you had mentioned Dimple put a value higher than what is expected for Team Asha.
Yeah.
In your years of experience in this fundraising, do you believe there is a positive psychology for the donator to, if they see a higher amount, that they would donate more or something?
Yeah, actually, two things happen. When people see an amount that's high, they usually do donate more because they see that there's a bigger goal. But there's another thing that happens too, is that as the ticker kind of increases, right, and you're getting closer and closer to your goal, people are less likely to donate or they'll donate a smaller amount. So if your goal is $2,000 and you're at 1780, someone's going to be someone who came there expecting to donate $200 will look at that and go, oh, I'll just do $20. He's going to get some more donors, right? So
Yeah.
there's that. I've seen that psychology as well, is that if the gap is small, then they're likely to even further shorten their amount that they give you, expecting that others will give you some.
Yeah.
Unless it's small enough that they'll just cover the gap and be like, hey, I was your last donor and I kind of crushed your total or whatever. So there's all kinds of psychologies that happen there, but definitely having the goal high to start with really helps.
Okay, thank you. I've actually, and I raised my $5,000, or I'm sorry, $4,000 for a race, and then $3,000 for another race, and I never thought of that.
Yeah. I mean, if you set your
completed
goal at
my
10,000,
I completed my goal each time, but it was and that's an interesting way to.
yeah, man. I mean, you're a doctor, right? Like your network isn't that scrounging. So my guess is if you set your goal at 10,000, you probably have reached it.
10,000 might be a lot, but
It will. All right, let me get back to my screen and go on to part two. Anyone else want to add anything? Pooja, Nalini, Mandar, I know.
Hey Anjana, I had
Yeah.
a quick question.
Hi, Shreya, good to see you. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, sorry, I'm late. I'm driving as well, so this might be a repeated question. So I had two questions.
Sure.
One was I heard about the fundraising profile that you mentioned that will be created for us.
Yes.
So typically, how does it work? Like if someone goes to the fund, like someone goes to our page to like donate the funds.
Yeah.
There, like, is it like a completely different account to which it gets donated? Does it work that way?
It's not a completely different account. It gets donated to Asha, but it's tagged with your name.
Oh, I see.
Right. So
And
the advantage of having this, having people donate from your from your Asha profile page is exactly that, because your Asha fundraising profile page, your FPP, what I'm calling it, will allow the donation to automatically be tagged, automatically increment your ticker, and automatically count against your name.
oh, I see. Okay. And this is the first time I'm doing any sort of fundraising. So I wanted to ask, like, do people see like who has, like donated, which may motivate them to donate as well, like just friends,
That's true, but we don't have that mechanism right now on our Asha fundraising profile page. Sometimes that does help, and other people
Okay.
ask for anonymity. So we don't
Yeah.
have it. It's not built in right now, unfortunately.
Okay. Okay. Understood. But like whoever new comes to the page might be able to see how many funds are raised, right?
Yes, they'll see exactly how much funds is raised, how many supporters you've had, and so on. So that helps for sure.
Okay, okay, got it. And then the second part I was just curious about is, like I mentioned, I'm doing this for the first time. So how did you go about it when you were raising funds for the first time? Like, did you do a lot of
Lovely.
course select?
Let me just jump into part two now. Okay, so part two I wanted to talk about is the fundraising approach. And this is something that I would really like to spend a little bit. This is what I've learned through my many years of fundraising with Alpha. So first thing you got to think about, how do you think about this, right? You're not asking, a lot of people are worried, "Ah, I have to ask people for money, I have to beg for money." You're not really, like, think about it this way. Lots of people want to give. Lots of people have the heart and the mind. They recognize lots and lots of people, especially in our network, we recognize our privileges. We want to share our privileges and we don't really know how, where, what's legit, so on. So that's a little bit of the challenge that often people have. So this is your chance to connect good people to a good cause. That's really the way I think about it. Like, people do want to know. And they want credible causes. And like I said earlier, you become the point of credibility. People also want to know that their money is being used effectively. So that's where the charity navigator rating helps. That's where it knows gold standard from Candid. That's where, American Airlines. And so all of that offers that credibility. And there's transparency. You can point people to the Asha pages and all that. And that's how you represent it, right? Like when you talk about it to people, when you send out a link or whatever, if you're just sending out a link and saying nothing, people are not going to give. But you send a link saying, "Hey, I really believe in this organization. I've kind of spent some time. I've seen the kind of volunteers that they have. I've seen the kind of commitment that these people have. And I kind of am proud to represent it." That means something. When people connect with you, they're not connecting necessarily with Asha or kids in India that they don't know. They connect with you. And that's what we want to utilize your network of people. Of course, they also want to know, is the money going to be used well, and so on and so forth. So that's the approach, right? So let me move on from this. We all of us have privilege. We all have health and wealth. Obviously, we're engaging in an expensive sport with expensive gear, and all of us have gotten to where we've gotten to, not just ourselves alone. Education has helped us get where we are. And for the most part, most of us didn't really put ourselves through school, right? Maybe secondary school, but certainly not primary school. So whatever privileges we've gotten somewhat, some of it has been the luck of our parenting, our environment, and so on. So let's use it, let's pass that on. Let's use our privileges to lift others up. And that's why we're kind of doing this. Um, and a little can go a long way. So we put in, all of us who've gotten this privilege, we put in just a little bit of effort, a sincere effort to share, and we're doing something exciting. And then it brings that accountability. It changes the lives of kids, and not just one kid. It's like an entire community that changed. It's quite a massive change. Which ultimately that makes the awkwardness of the ask worth it. It's worth the effort. It's worth that little bit of effort we have to put in and get over the awkwardness. Like I said, if you think about it as asking or begging, it feels more awkward. If you think about, hey, these people probably want to connect. Maybe they already have good causes, but I can make them aware of one more and I can show them that I stand for it. There is some awkwardness in that because you do have to make an ask. But that's what brings the change. And your friends and family, they want to support you. A lot of times, people, they want to pat you on the back, like, "Man, this girl is climbing Mount Baker, Mount Shasta, whatever." They want to pat you and they don't know how. And they can't, they're not going to come and say, "Hey, we'll give you $5 for your effort." Or not everyone is going to say, "We'll buy you a cupcake," or, whatever. Somebody might say that, "Let's go for a treat," or, "Hey, great job, you climbed the mountain." But, or, "My gosh, you finished Tokyo Marathon, man. I want to congratulate you," more than just saying so. But here's the way they can do it. They can educate kids on your behalf, right? They're translating their love for you in a click and a donation that makes a difference. So yeah, I mean, you can give your, directly by yourself, but the idea is that you help other people kind of learn about Asha and use that credibility and that love that people have for you. So that's your effort, right? Gandhi says you must be the change you want to see in the world. How do we do that? Yeah, you can participate in your community, you can volunteer your hours, you can also do this. And you're doing this is like a multi-pronged investment, right? You're climbing the mountains, you're also raising the funds. So it does take some effort, especially the amounts that we're looking for. You have to put, it's helpful if you put in 10 to 15 minutes of weekly effort. And the cost of change for kids in India comes down to that awkwardness of yours. That literally there is a child in India who benefits from your willing to be awkward for 5 minutes. That's a big deal. That's a big deal for a child to say, my life would change if this anonymous person I don't know in India who's climbing mountains for me is willing to put in a little bit of awkwardness with their neighbor, with their colleague, with their boss, with their receptionist, then my entire life changes and everyone around me changes. Like the trajectory of what I can achieve in my life changes. So that's huge. So the strategies, here's some of the things you're asking me in your question. Group the people first into how you know them, right? Like your 10th standard classmates or your graduate classmates, your first job, your van pool group, your neighbors. So these are ways you can sort your people into groups. Where do you know them from? How do you know them? What is your connection with people? It's a lot about people managing. You're trying to figure out how do I connect with people. And it's not like a one-time deal unless you're just paying it yourself. That's donating, not fundraising. Fundraising is a network activity of creating networks. It's relationship building. It's communicating. Share your effort in words. Hey, I'm climbing this mountain. My gosh, today I carried 22 pounds and it broke me. Or I thought I was pretty strong and man, what got me is I lost my way and I didn't have enough food. Whatever, share these efforts, right? Like you're learning your efforts. This is the stories that people are interested in. They want to know your stuff and then they want to know why are you doing it. And then build that credibility. Hey, I'm doing this for Asha. Asha has this charity navigating rating. Um, and then also I invite you all, look at Asha beyond just the leaves and the climbing and the sandwiches and the chai on the mountain. Because Asha is incredible. You will not be disappointed, right? There's a reason why it's called a slam dunk charity. And there's a reason that I've been volunteering for Asha for 26 years. And coming back to Asha, after having lived in India, I went back to India, lived there for 7 years, looked at various organizations, and I was like, man, Asha is like effective, they're apolitical, they're secular, they're, there's so many features about I just came back. And then, the more you look at Asha, the more credibility that you can embody. So, and if you're having trouble, like what do I start? Just call me and I'll help you with that. Really simple mechanics is learn as much as you can and craft your message to people, whether it's verbal's best. If you can talk to somebody about, I'm climbing this mountain, I'm doing this for charity, would you consider contributing to my cause? That's a bit of an awkward ask, but that's what makes the difference. Or send the link, send it in WhatsApp. Same message. Imagine saying it yourself in the mirror, but now you say it on text so that there's that genuineness. And you say it on text, not in a blank, like anonymous format, but specifically to one person at a time, maybe modify it even for them. It's like sending out your resume to employers. If you send the same resume to 15 different employers, most people will tell you that's not as good as customizing it, right? Of course, today AI and it's a different world, but generally you're looking for those people connections. For each group, and you can even even within your group, right? What is connecting you to a high school group? Was there some activity like this that you did? Did you have, some maid or janitor in your college that you can reference? Like if it was their kid, would you do it? Something, what is the personal connect? Or maybe these are all like enthusiastic fitness people. So highlight your training height, highlight your prep effort, or highlight something about Asha that you found out. So each group you can send a slightly more personal message. And each time you spend that 15 minutes of effort, just like your hike, we're doing, a weekly effort of hikes that's roughly 5 to 7 hours of climbing on Saturday, plus 2 to 3 at least hours of, hiking during the week. That's a lot of training to climb a mountain. And to raise funds, it's not that much. 10 to 15 minutes per week is enough. But that 10 to 15 minutes per week helps. And it helps not to push that off until the end, the same way it helps that If you don't do any training and just climb a mountain at the end, it's going to feel a lot harder. So maybe each week you send an email out to a different group of individuals, an email or a text message to whatever WhatsApp group you have. Rotate through your groups, let them know about your climb. Maybe sometimes you don't even want to make the donation ask. You just want to say, hey, this was my hike, by the way. Remember, I'm climbing for Asha. Maybe don't even want to mention Asha. Once you do it a couple of times, people know why you're doing it. But put your message out there that you're hiking, that you're doing this. This was a picture from my weekend. And you can reuse that content and reuse that text. But try to modify, customize for each person you're sending to. So it's not, doesn't feel like, somebody's getting on to spam, but they're getting your interest, your passion, your weekend, your hike, and what are you looking forward to? And, maybe some connection. Man, climbing mountains is so hard. I'm doing this voluntarily. I think about the kids who have to walk 14 miles to get water for their village. I'm kind of glad I can raise funds for things like that. So these are the things that connect your story to your cause. And then send a link, even if you're just sending a hike picture and you may not even say anything about it, but you can send a link to your donation page, which I will send to you as soon as I get your picture really. Okay, Suja, I know I've kind of mostly built your site, but I've got a few more steps to do. I think you wanted me to do something. I need to get back to it. All right, so each of these steps, use the opportunity to connect. Like if you haven't met a school friend in a long time, message them, own it. Like, hey, I've got a reason to reconnect with you. I hope you've been well. Obviously, their mother just died or their dog just died. You probably want to give them some space. But check in with them. Like, I have a reason to connect with you. I was thinking about you for a reason. I'm, hope you're doing well, how you're doing. I'm assuming everything is going well. Well, the reason I wanted to connect with you is because I've been hiking. I'm kind of excited about it. I'm also hiking to raise funds. Would you consider, donating, or would you consider just an opportunity for us to reconnect? The more one-on-one connections you can do, the more successful you will be, because people do want a direct connection. They want to know that it's a credible cause from you, not from Anjana, not from some Asha volunteer, not from some website. They want to know that you think it's a good cause, and they want to know that you're interested in what you're doing. They want to be proud of your hiking. It does take longer to talk individually, but it can be far more meaningful because you build those relations. Then you find out all kinds of things like, wow, I used to climb mountains when I was 17. Did you know I've done Mount Baker when I was 30? Whatever, right? Or, man, I love working for, I've been in education for a long time. I I've been to school for disabled kids. You learn all kinds of things, what people are interested in, especially their values connect with yours. There will be ways, especially in one-on-ones, where people let you know that they have an interest in doing work like this, so that they're relating to you in some way. So that ask you have to make, would you consider supporting my cause? Would you be willing to give to Asha for my client? It would mean a lot to me. These are things you can say in text, some things you can say verbally. These are ways in which you ask. But remember that little awkwardness that you feel about asking, that's the piece that can change an entire village. And I'm not exaggerating. I've visited many Asha projects. I've seen the kind of impact even like $20 can make. Or just the impact that when you sponsor a teacher who treats a child with dignity, a dignity that their whole family, 2 generations have not seen, it changes the way they look at life, and it's powerful. So tips in terms of how do you talk to your network? Start early, connect frequently. Like I said, you don't always have to ask. Share your training efforts, email or text people. If you have a social media account, put it on there. Social media is a little bit more anonymous, right? So when people comment, then you have the opportunity to interact with them one-on-one in that comment that they shared. So do that. Connect with them personally, not the same reply, the same message to everybody copy paste, but something specifically, hey, have you done anything like this? Have you raised funds before for anything? Have you climbed a mountain? And those kinds of specific interactions, even in a comment, can really engage people. Not everyone's going to donate, and often people will need you to ask multiple times because they forget. So again, I want to reiterate, you're not asking people, so don't feel bad about that. Good people want to support you, they love you, they're connected, they're impressed with you, and they will gladly give to any cause that they feel is credible. And you really have, I say you have nothing to lose by asking, you might have a little bit of your comfort to lose by asking. And that's the key. That's the price that you pay for changing, right? And whether it's discomfort because your heel is aching because you've just climbed a mountain, or discomfort from the ask, that's the discomfort that can help change somebody else's life. Often we see that change happens from discomfort. It's very hard for change to happen if everything stays comfortable. So get creative, maybe you throw a party to say, hey, I'm climbing a mountain. If you're outgoing and you're confident about what you're doing, that's something you can do. Or one-on-one WhatsApp conversations, one-on-one text messages, all of that can work. Make it easy for people to donate. Don't be like, hey, I have a link, go find it yourself, or it's on my Facebook. People are not going to go do that. Like, give them the link. Even, try it out yourself, make a donation, see how long it takes. If it's 3 minutes, you'll know it's 3 minutes. And then you can tell them, hey, it takes 3 minutes, or it takes 4 minutes, or whatever. Or you'll need your social security number. You don't need it. But I'm just making an example of, like, you need your credit card number. It's easy. Or if you have an auto pay setup, it's, like a auto fill in setup, it'll go through. Stand and let them know, like, I'm available if you have any questions or if you run into any snags. And then once you get a donation, you will get a receipt in your email. Make sure you respond to that, whether it's by text or call them if you don't have time, or send them a note. So let them know when you see your email, to thank them, and of course ask them, hey, by the way, does your employer match donations? Do you know? And then put them on a list to update them when your climb is over. So whenever you do climb, make sure you send them updates about that. And if you can hold on to their information and update them, because I will send out information about Asha projects when we have it. Sometimes our projects send us a video, or kids will sing for us or whatever. I'll send that out, and you can pass that on and say, hey, this is what your donation supported. Thank you for that. So these are all ways in which you can not only build your network, but also maintain these and propagate these relationships that take you beyond just the fundraising, but make you continue to connect you with people. So on social media, lots of people make posts about their progress, their training, their fundraising goals. Put your pictures on your hikes, put your pictures of your effort, put your pictures on gear. What did you learn this week? And think about it. You have lots of time on the climb to think about that. And end your post with a call to action. Make your link available. Please consider contributing. Contribute early. Trying to reach my goal. Like I said, reply to your posts and comments individually if you can. Don't be shy to direct message people. And you can tag fellow climbers. Ask me. I have never denied a donation to anyone who's asked me for it. Anyone who asked me, I can donate something to them. So don't think that your leads and your climbers and all may not donate. They might. If you have a connection with them, pretty much anyone within the community already believes in Asha. Obviously, we want you to ask people outside the community. So your boss, your colleagues, your neighbors, like, you can ask whomever you can ask. And in the end, what's it all for, right? These are the projects. You can go check it out. Like, these are Asha Seattle's projects. You can filter by the state that you're from. If you have background in a certain state, you're from Gujarat, you're from Punjab, go look at that state and look at the projects in your state. If you're going to go and visit India, you can even visit the projects. You just have to coordinate with the project coordinator here. And that doesn't have to be in the climate season. Most likely, you're not going to travel in the climate season. But if you do, you can go visit a project. It will change your life. I have visited probably a dozen projects with my family. I could tell you all kinds of stories that have changed my life. And, I've had Asha in my life for a long time. And the ground realities are things we can't even imagine. Like, people, there's a Dalit community who needs paperwork in order to access fresh, clean drinking water. Their paperwork, they put in plastic sleeves and they tucked into the thatch roof, and the thatch roof blew away in a cyclone. These are the kind, mind blows. Like, you can't even, I went to one other project in Tamil Nadu where this kid doesn't have access to antibiotic cream. He's like infected, his skin is itchy and he's suffering. And if I had known before I traveled the 400 kilometers to get to him, I could have just brought the antibiotic cream with me and changed his entire family's life. So the ground realities are mind-boggling, especially after we've lived in the first world for a bit. The kinds of courage that people exhibit, it's all amazing. And when you go and visit these projects, it really changes your perspective and it makes all of that awkwardness automatically worth it. It makes it worth it for me to sit and make this presentation, come and do Asha work. I do it. I've been doing it for a while because I've been there, seen those changes that these kids have had, and it's amazing. So that's really all I got. Have any questions? So I'll send the form out. Please fill the form, send in your photos. As soon as I receive your photo, I'll start doing these pages now. I'll get them set up and then you can start doing all this stuff. And I'll also send some content from here on out of things you can say. Like when we finish a hike, I'll probably remind you, like here's something you can say. We're at a midway point, or, I'm halfway through my hiking season, and I have a fundraising profile page now. Here it is. Would you consider donating to my cause? So I'll send text like that you can copy paste and modify to your needs, and you'll start getting that kind of information. All right, guys, we're just about a little over an hour at this point. I will stop my sharing unless anyone wants to see any of the slides again. Can you guys all unmute? There's only 10 of us, so go ahead and unmute yourselves and let me know what your thoughts are. If you have concerns, I mean, I get it. People are like, oh my gosh, I've got to do this on top of climbing, or man, this is awkward. And there are lots of those kinds of thoughts. Go ahead, express them. I won't deny you. I'll validate them if I can. And maybe I'll find out about your concern about H4. That's an interesting.
No, I just, that was my thought when I was just listening, but I think I Googled it and it should not be a problem if it's for a non-profit. Yeah. But thanks, Anjana, for putting this together and even taking out time and,
My pleasure. I like it. It's an easy way for me to contribute. But yeah, lots of mechanics of this in terms of setting up, but ultimately it comes down to like setting up a link. The main thing is that when you have an employer match or if you have a donation outside of your Facebook, your fundraising profile page, then you have to do that extra work of filling out that form.
Got it.
And whatever your obligation is, by the way, if your obligation is you're committed to raising $1,000 and you work in an employer that matches, you really only have to raise $500, and then if you raise it from friends and family, some people do it this way, where they'll raise the money in cash, where somebody gives it to them because they don't need a 501c3 receipt, or they don't need to count it against their tax. But because we're a 501c3, we're also tax exempt, right? So whoever donates to Asha, we do send a tax exempt receipt automatically, and they can count it against their taxes. But if they want to raise money by giving it to you, and then you donate because you work in Microsoft or you're working in Google or whatever, that's fine. And then Google will match your amount. So you raise 500, Google matches 500, your $1,000 obligation is done. There's lots of people who are like, hey, I will match on my own. So we had Shruti, an amazing job she did last year. She said she will personally match whatever people do. And she did that, and her company also matches. So it kind of tripled. So I think her amount was like whatever, let's say it was $1,000. She raised $1,000. She matched $1,000 herself, and then because of her $1,000 match, her company matched another $1,000, and she ended up raising like 3 times that much. So that's wonderful. You have the ability to do that. Fantastic. So yeah, all sorts of creative ways you can get people to notice what you're doing. People comment on the chat. I'll take a look. Mandara said, thank you. Good, very informative. Happy to hear it. All right, yeah, please, rave about it on the WhatsApp group, man. Otherwise, we have 10 people here. Everyone's busy with climbing. I'll put the recording out. So let me pause and stop the recording.